Let's get further analysis now with Professor Sampson Mamphweli, who is the head of Energy Secretariat at the South African National Energy Development Institute. Professor, thank you so much for joining us today. As you might have seen, we are getting quite a lot of inquiry about this recoding system. And it seems communities are complaining about one thing. They are only waking up now to the possibility of a reality of being without electricity come Monday. So please just take us back a little bit. Explain to us in great detail what this transition is for Eskom and what it will improve in the energy distribution sector.
Yeah, good afternoon to you and the viewers. So this is something that Eskom and municipalities announced about 8 months ago. They moved from the key revision number 1 to key revision number 2, mainly for old meters that we have in the households and businesses. And this is because of the improvement or the software that needs to be upgraded. That's one. So what happens is these meters, when they're made with a deadline on which they will stop working. That's one. The second part is that they are made with a number of digits that they can take in terms of when you key in your electricity when you purchase it. So they get to a certain level where they become full, for lack of a better word. And when that happens, they need to be recoded. So people need to basically go and buy electricity and get those two tokens for recoding, and then they must first key in their electricity, their new electricity token, because once you do the recoding, the meters won't be able to take the electricity that you purchased using the KRN1 kind of the meter, meters. Mm-hmm. Now that's basically what is happening. So most of the new meters are still okay. There's a way of checking whether the meter needs that coding or not. But most people, did not show up, did not go and start with the process until very late. That's why we are seeing these long queues. We've got about 2 million Eskom customers who have not yet done it. And we've got thousands of municipal customers as well who still need to do the recoding of the meters. And if you don't do it, your meter will basically stop working and you won't have electricity, and it needs to be physically removed. And that physical removal and replacement will cost money, and upwards of 12,000 rand or so if Eskom or government does not necessarily come to the party in terms of subsidizing the replacements.
All right. So, Professor, let's get a better understanding of this. You're saying that for those that need to recode or that have just completed a recoding process, they then need to go to where? Should they go buy their new electricity token at a retailer or on banking apps? Because this has been the issue for most of the people that have been buying off the banking apps. Even if the electricity meter shows that it has been recoded, the banking apps are still giving them that single-digit code to recharge. So concerns are now that those people that were automatically automated in terms of the KRN2 are not sure whether now they need to go to a retailer to actually retain that code with 3 PIN tokens.
Yeah, so there's a code, a very long code as well. I think it's a 20-digit code that you can use to check whether your meter needs to be moved to key revision number 2, mm-hmm. or it's fine. Most of the meters for which people are buying electricity through the banking apps, they already automatically upgraded, and most of them are the new meters that we have. So my advice to everyone is to basically use that 20-digit code, mm-hmm. to check whether your meter needs to be upgraded or not. And if it needs to be upgraded, then you can go to the to the retailers who are accredited by Eskom. That's another issue, that the problem that we're picking up. There are retailers who are not accredited by Eskom.
Yes.
We don't know how they do it.
Yes.
And those retailers, they are selling electricity. Basically, that is illegal electricity that they are selling. And that's what Eskom has been saying. They've been saying it's in the majority of the 2 million customers, that those ones are the ones that are either illegally connected or they are buying from retailers that are not accredited by Eskom. And Eskom is saying those ones must show up at Eskom centers where they will be assisted for now, and then going forward, Eskom will see what to do with those that kind of a situation.
Professor, while we're on reputable and recommended retailers, right, here's an issue that is also being largely queried, right? There seems to be a concern that a certain brand of meter box, or even after going through the actual recoding process, is still even giving residents an error message, and they feel this is also another issue that the power utility should take into account, as these brands were authorized into the market. So why do they feel then should they be responsible for the manufacturing faults of such meters, or meters that were not vetted by the power utility to be in the market?
So there are a lot of meters that were not authorized. What happens in that particular case is that you find people going, especially landlords who've got people who are backyard dwellers, or some who are also staying with them, but they have additional meters. Those are the ones that are giving a lot of problems, because in most cases they are not vetted, they are not recommended by Eskom. So when you key
Professor,
in your...
But they were operating. How were they able to operate?
It's technically you can buy a meter and hook it up, and then it can take from your main meter, and then it can supply electricity to whoever. That technically that is possible. So that is basically what happened in most cases. That does not necessarily mean that particular meter was vetted or approved by Eskom, because that for the meter to be able to say it has been vetted or approved by Eskom needs to register that particular meter. In this case, you've got meters that are not registered, but they can still pull electricity from the main meter in the main house or main business, and then sell that particular electricity to other people within the same backyard. And Eskom indicated that as well.
All right, and a very quick one, Professor. We're almost out of time. Now, this is a national campaign, right? Let me tell you, some communities, we've just had a package preceding our interview. Some villages are not even aware of this drive, with some even thinking it was just strictly a Gauteng-only initiative. Shouldn't the power utility then not have invested more resources in ensuring that all the checks and balances were actually put in place in a timeous manner? I heard a resident earlier saying that, interesting, that during elections, politicians know exactly where even their shacks are located, and with the utility saying that they will not extend the Sunday deadline, what kind of situation are we likely to be faced with then come Monday?
So let me deal with the deadline first. The deadline can't be extended because it's not up to Eskom or municipalities to be able to extend the deadline. This is a technical issue. It's like when you've got a bucket that you need to fill with water, and then you fill your bucket up until the end, then you can't do anything about it. And also, when these meters are manufactured, they are manufactured with the end date on which they need to be recoded for them to be able to continue. So that's a technical issue. On the part of communities not knowing, Eskom has been running these campaigns for the past 8 months. So it's difficult, you know.
Where, Professor?
I mean, the first time Eskom mentioned this was 8 months ago, and I remember doing interviews in the media. Yes, and in some cases, in Limpopo, for instance, I know of a place where Eskom, where the communities came together and said to Eskom, you've been telling us about this, we are unable to do it. That was about 6 months ago. And then Eskom actually physically sent people to that particular community to assist them with this particular process. So people knew. It's only that they are now finding out that, well, our meters are going to stop working now, and then they have to find, a blame somewhere else. And in this case, Eskom is the obvious case to blame. However, anyone who will miss that deadline, the meter will have to be physically removed. And then the Eskom will have to and the municipalities will have to bring new meters for them to be able to get electricity going forward. And Eskom has indicated that the majority of people have done it, and the majority of those who have not done it yet are people who are largely bridging electricity, who have not been buying, and there are people who basically buy from those unaccredited vendors.
Professor, I have so many things to say on this, but unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you so much for your input. As always, Professor Sampson Mamphweli, the Energy Secretariat Head at SANEDI, on the recoding drive across the country. Now, here are these numbers that you need to enter if you want to recode your electricity meter box. 1844 6744 0738 4377 2416. On your meter keypad, it will then either show you 1 or 2. If it's 1, your meter still needs to be recoded. If it shows you 2, it means your meter is ready and it requires no further action. You will be able to get electricity as you have been acquiring for the past couple of months.